The Beatles weren't completely opposed to making a politically charged song or two, but they were never as emphatic in that department as Lennon's solo work was. Among the scraps from Lennon's writing for Get Back was Gimme Some Truth. Though the Beatles didn't end up cutting the song, it found its rightful home among Lennon's solo work. 3 years before writing his political anthem, Gimme Some Truth, John Lennon had a stark warning for the public about politicians when he was interviewed at the National Theatre in 1968. "I think our society is run by insane people for insane objectives, and I think that's what I sussed when I was 16 and 12, way down the line. But I expressed it differently all through my life. It's the same thing I'm expressing all the time, but now I can put it into that sentence that I think we're being run by maniacs for maniacal ends. If anybody can put on paper what our government, and the American government and the Russian Chinese, what they are actually trying to do and what they think they're doing, I'd be very pleased to know what they think they're doing. I think they're all insane." Half a century later, Yoko Ono has no doubts over his relevance in the febrile 24/7 world of fake news. One of the key inspirations for his solo career, Ono says, John was always talking about creating a global village, so he'd probably have an "I told you so" attitude to the internet age. Right now, he'd be making artwork with computer programs and communicating with the world in a much quicker way. The Lennon song that seems most apt for the so-called post-truth world we inhabit in the 21st century is the acerbic "Gimme Some Truth" from his 1971 album, Imagine. In this highly memorable song, he sings, "I'm sick and tired of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocritics. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth." There seems to be no shortage of psychotic, pig-headed politicians these days, and the song retains a cultural relevance for musicians. Numerous bands have covered Gimme Some Truth, from Generation X in 1978 to the Dutch band Gems in 2018. The power and the message of Lennon's polemical song was hugely influential for Bono, too. The lead singer of U2 said, "I remember listening to the Imagine album when I was 12. It changed the shape of my bedroom, it changed the shape of my head, and it changed the shape of my life. It just widened the aperture so much, it was as if I was seeing the world for the first time. I learnt off the lyrics to Gimme Some Truth, and that, in a way, was the template for all that followed." The origins of Gimme Some Truth actually lay in Lennon's time with the Beatles, during a period when the man who had written some of the most iconic love songs of modern times was reinventing himself. While touring with the group, he wanted to talk openly about the Vietnam War, but the band's manager, Brian Epstein, said no. More and more, however, Lennon's songs began to describe struggle. When he returned to the lyrics of Gimme Some Truth, in 1971, at the height of the Vietnam War, the references were updated to include President Nixon. By then, of course, Lennon was already a heavily politicized figure, and Gimme Some Truth became a protest song for anti-war campaigners.